Hello and welcome to the Learning Love Podcast. This is where we learn what love is and how to live a life of love in every area. My name is Dr. Mark A. Hicks, author of the book Learning Love. Love can be practical, tangible, and a realistic life for everyone, regardless of your relationship experiences so far. So thank you for joining me as we spend some time learning love.
Love is the answer. Now all we have to do is explore all the questions. And today's question is, what about the practical side of love? We're going to discuss one area of practicality. There's a lot of things we can do on the practical side of love. Love is not just emotional, although emotion is a really big part of it. It's also practical, doing the things every day that make sense for our relationships. Doing the things every day that help us build those healthy relationships. That just comes down to making good decisions in all areas of life. It's not always easy to do, but it's an important area of building those healthy relationships at home and at work. Now, we're not going to cover every practical thing you can do. We're only going to discuss one, but it's a very important one, and it's one you may not have thought about, especially in terms of building healthy relationships, and that is deep breathing. Now, perhaps you've heard before that deep breathing can help you live a healthier life. Or maybe that's new information to you, and you've never thought about breathing as something important to practice. But it's not just something that is important for our health, it's also important for our relationships. And today I'm going to show you why. So in the first segment of the show today, I'm going to talk about the benefits of deep breathing. They are far-reaching and might surprise you about how much this can help your life just by taking some time to take deep breaths on a regular basis. In the second segment of the show, I'm going to talk about how this practice can affect your relationships, of how just taking the time to breathe can affect your relationships at home and at work, in your friendships, in your neighborhood. Every area of your life can be improved by this very simple, easy practice. And in the third segment of the show today, we're going to talk about some basic practices that will help you get into a routine of deep breathing so that you can enjoy all those benefits, so that you can enjoy all those improvements to your life and to your relationships through some simple practices, some habits that you can form, and ways that you can practice deep breathing. This may sound simple, and it is, but it is something that can really help you. Imagine having something so simple as taking deep breaths that doesn't cost you any money. It's not like starting a big exercise program or investing in classes for your education. You don't have to make any changes in your life. There's no big decisions here. There's no course corrections. It's just breathing. And yet, it can impact in a positive way our life, our health, our relationships in every area of life. This is something that's worth your time. So let's get into it. When you practice deep breathing on a regular basis every day, it has a lot of benefits for your health in every area, physically, mentally, emotionally. It can even impact your spiritual life. And so let's just briefly touch on some of the benefits that can take place when you do this. When you stop and take some deep breaths on a regular basis throughout the day, one of the main things you're going to do is reduce your stress levels. Sometimes we don't even realize how stressed we have become. We get into the routine of the day and we don't even realize that we're feeling stressed. It just feels normal because we're always stressed. When we take some time to take deep breaths, 6 or 7 deep breaths in a row, maybe more. It doesn't take that long. And we might even be able to do that while we're working, while we're doing things around the house, just take those deep breaths, as deep as you can, and exhale fully. It's going to reduce your stress levels. Now, when you reduce your stress, it has an impact on your body. It can reduce things like blood pressure. Now, that doesn't mean it cures blood pressure. If you are on high blood pressure medication, keep taking your medication. But this can help. It can be something that can help you regulate that blood pressure. It helps your heart rate. It helps reduce that stress. It also brings oxygen into your body, which helps you with your energy levels. Sometimes in that afternoon when you have that lull, some deep breathing can help boost your energy. It can help you relax. It can help you reduce your stress and can help boost your energy. Now, wouldn't that help you get through the workday? Also, when you practice deep breathing, particularly before you go to bed at night, it can help your sleep patterns. Now, if you get better quality sleep, that's going to help you in every area of life. That's going to improve your life dramatically when you're getting better sleep, deeper sleep, because you are more relaxed, because you have that deep breathing routine before you go to bed. Now, when these things are taking place, it's going to help regulate your emotions. You're not going to have as many lulls of being drained or spikes in your stress level. Of course, life is still going to be life. It's going to have ups and downs. There's going to be things that are shocking. There's going to be irritating things. We know all of that. But when you practice this deep breathing routine, you can help regulate your emotions, build that resilience against those shocks, those annoying things, to help you stay calm and stay focused. Deep breathing helps bring us to the present moment, and it enables us to stay more focused with more clarity. You're going to be more sharp mentally as your emotions are regulated. You're not just on this roller coaster of emotion throughout the day. You're staying more calm, less stressed, less anxiety. You slept better the night before. And when those annoying things happen, you're going to have the ability to stay more calm as you breathe through it. And all of this comes under basically the category of self-awareness. Being aware of when we're stressed, being aware of when we're reacting to those annoying people or those annoying situations, and when we're letting our stress cause our reactions rather than making a clear, focused decision on how we're going to react to this. There's a big difference between allowing our spontaneous, stressful emotions react to something or taking the time to take some deep breaths, think through it, have some clarity, have some focus, and make a decision on how you're going to react. There's a big difference between those two paths. And the best one for your life, your relationships, your home, your work life, is to make clear, focused decisions when stressful things come along. And so when you know you're about to go into a tough conversation, rather than get all ramped up about that, when you've got that business meeting that you know is going to be tense, rather than get up for the fight, calm yourself down with some deep breaths. Get your clarity, get your focus, reduce your stress with those deep breaths before you go into that conversation. Let everybody else be the ones that are popping off with ridiculous stuff because their stress is out of hand. Let other people do that. You can set yourself apart by remaining calm, clear, focused, and that can be supported through this deep breathing practice. How many times have you popped off with something that you regretted saying later? If you had taken the moment to take a couple of deep breaths, you could have made a much better decision. And so when you know life is stressful, stop for a moment and take some deep breaths. But one thing we know is life is always stressful. And so make it a routine. Don't wait until you do have those stressful business meetings or that argument with that coworker or with your spouse or with a neighbor. That's a good time to practice deep breathing, but we know stress is going to come along, so be prepared for it. Take some time on a regular basis, maybe once an hour or 3 or 4 times a day. Get into a habit to take a few deep breaths so that you can face life with clarity, with less stress, with some calmness, with better blood pressure and heart rate, because we know life is stressful on a routine basis. So practice deep breathing on a routine basis. When you do that, it's going to have a huge impact, not only on your life, your work, but on all your relationships. So let's turn our attention now on how deep breathing can affect all those relationships. When you practice deep breathing on a regular basis every day, you're going to experience all those health benefits, but then it's going to get into your relationships. When you have more emotional regulation, your stress levels aren't spiking every time there's something annoying. You're able to remain calm and focused with less stress, having better decisions. That's going to impact your conversations. Not only are you going to be more calm, have the capacity for more wisdom, better decision making in those stressful conversations, but it has an impact on who you're speaking with. It can be hard on that person to remain completely irrational and overly emotional and irate when you are remaining calm and making good decisions and speaking rationally. Now, I'm not saying it's going to fix every conversation, but it gives you the best chance of helping that person come into a more rational place themselves. If one person is being irrational and irate and the other remaining calm, it gives a better chance for both to become calm. When both people are irate, when both people are irrational, very rarely is that going to turn into a rational conversation, a productive conversation. That's probably not going to happen. And so you're not only in a position to help yourself make good decisions and be rational in stressful moments and in difficult conversations, but you can help your partner, your coworker, your friend do the same and improve that conversation. When you have better conversations, you have better relationships. Now again, let's not underestimate people's ability to remain irrational and irate. People can stay in that place no matter how calm you are, but it gives the best chance. It gives the best opportunity. When you're handling things well, it gives the best opportunity for that conversation, all your conversations, to come out well. Deep breathing also can improve your listening skills. Now, there's no direct correlation between breathing and listening. It doesn't improve your hearing, but it does help you reduce your tension. Sometimes when we're in difficult conversations or we're dealing with a difficult person, our tension, our stress levels, our defensiveness cause us to jump. We say things abruptly, we say things in a defensive manner, and we very often interrupt because we're so adamant about getting our point across or reacting instantaneously to what we may see as something offensive or an affront or annoying that person said. That we're so anxious to defend ourselves in these difficult conversations that we may interrupt and be overly spontaneous in what we say. When we reduce that tension, when we reduce our stress, we remain more calm in the present moment. That deep breathing can help us be less defensive, then it reduces our need to respond so quickly. We may have a little more patience to listen to what that person is saying. Doesn't mean we're going to agree with it, but just allowing them to get it off their chest can sometimes help. When we interrupt someone who is upset and we're defensive with them, it tends to escalate the situation. Take some deep breaths, listen to what they're saying. What they're saying could be completely ridiculous. That's okay. People can be ridiculous sometimes. But let them get it off their chest. Let them speak. Listen. And that's hard to do when we're stressed and we're defensive. And so take those deep breaths to reduce the tension. Let them finish what they're saying. Listen to what they're saying and respond rationally. Doesn't mean you can't defend yourself. Of course, defend yourself if someone is accusing you wrongly, if someone is mistaken. Of course we can correct them, but we can do it in a more rational, calm way when we practice those deep breaths. So listen to what they're saying and take that moment to take a deep breath or two just to let them get it out. and then you can respond in a more rational manner. This is going to help your relationships. Not easy to do, but deep breathing can help us stay in that moment, listen to what they're saying, and that can have a big impact and a big improvement on relationships. And another impact is that deep breathing, because it helps us reduce our stress, because it helps us reduce tension, to get better sleep, and just feel better, we're going to have less defensiveness, and that helps us be a little more vulnerable. Now, I know the word vulnerable can be really scary to some people, but it's essential for relationships. We have to open up a bit. We can't be defensive all the time if we're going to have good, healthy, thriving relationships. We have to be a little vulnerable. But if we are barricaded behind our defenses because we are so stressed all the time, vulnerability is not really possible. Reducing that stress, being more calm, just feeling better about life can help us be a little more vulnerable. Do you know how much it could help your relationships if you were to say, I think I was wrong about that? That can really have a great impact on relationships. But that's hard to do when you're so tense and so defensive. When we relax a bit, when we're more calm, we're more focused, we're more rational, it's a little easier to say, okay, maybe I made a mistake there. Let me correct that. And that can really help our relationships. And all this can come from just taking some time to breathe. Deep breaths on a regular basis throughout the day, practiced every day, can bring all these physical, mental, emotional benefits that seep their way into our conversations, our interactions, and ultimately build better relationships. And so if we see the benefits and we see how those benefits can directly impact our relationships in life, both at home and at work, then the last question is, how do we do that? What are some good practices? What are some good habits we can get into to practice deep breathing? That's what we're going to talk about in segment 3. Now, if deep breathing is new to you, it's like everything else. It takes practice. It feels weird at first. You would think breathing would come natural, but deep breathing does not. It takes practice. It's something that we train our bodies to do, and after a while, like everything else, it becomes more natural. But at first it can seem weird, and so take your time. Start small. Just take 5, 6 deep breaths in a row. That's all. And then go about your day. And do that maybe once an hour. Maybe set an alarm on your phone. If that's too much, do it 3 or 4 times a day. Maybe before every meal and right before you go to bed. Just 5 or 6, maybe 10 deep breaths in a row. You don't have to turn this into a full-scale meditation practice the first day. Don't look for it to change your life instantaneously. It doesn't work like that. It will make a difference over time, but it takes a little practice. So start small and just take a few deep breaths throughout the day, every hour, or 3 or 4 times a day, whenever you want. But make sure you practice it on a regular basis. Set an alarm or time it with those things you do every day, like meals and bedtime. Have a time that you know, this is when I practice my deep breathing. Doesn't take that long. So start small, and as it becomes to feel more natural and you start to feel those benefits, increase. Work your way up to a few minutes. Maybe you take 5 full minutes every hour. That can be quite a bit of time, but there's a lot of benefit from that. And if you're worried about it affecting your productivity, just think about how more clarity, more focus, less stress is going to increase your productivity at work. So taking that 5 minutes to practice deep breathing might actually increase your output at work or your efficiency with the chores at home. But don't try to start there. Start small and work your way up. And when you start your deep breathing practice, breathe into your diaphragm. That means breathe into your belly. Let your belly rise and fall. Breathe deep into your gut. You're probably accustomed to breathing very shallow. Let that air fill your gut and allow your belly to expand, and then let the breath out slowly. One popular practice is the 4-7-8 method. This means you inhale 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then hold your breath for 7 counts. And then exhale for 8 counts, pushing all of that air out of your body. And then repeat 4, 7, 8. There's lots of other methods like that. Do a quick internet search and you'll find a lot of deep breathing methods. Find one you like, or experiment with a few different ones to find what works best for you. But find a method and take those deep breaths deep into your diaphragm, into your belly, to get all those benefits. Now, as you get better at this, you might want to pair it with some activities. Maybe you want to practice deep breathing as you walk through nature. This can be a very mindful activity, a very calming activity. Some people pair their deep breathing practice with practices like yoga or meditation or prayer. This increases the benefit to your physical health, your emotional, mental health, and your spiritual health. As you pair your deep breathing with these spiritual practices or these physical activities, it just increases the benefit. Now again, start small, but as you get better, maybe you'll want to download a breathing app. There's a lot of them. Take a look, see if there's any that you like. If you find one that you like, it can be very helpful in helping you stay on track and keep your routine. And so take a look and see if there are any breathing apps. They'll often be listed under meditation apps, and see if any of these can help you in your practice. And finally, it's a good idea to keep track. Maybe keep a journal of when you're practicing your deep breathing and what effect is it having. It probably won't have huge effects at first, but maybe small ones. And so make note of those. And then as you go, I think you'll see more and more benefits to this deep breathing practice. Making note of those benefits can help keep you motivated, keep you on track, and allow you to see your progress in your physical, mental, emotional health, in your relationships, and that just makes for a better life. Who would have ever thought something so simple as taking a deep breath could affect your life? But practicing deep breathing on a regular basis can have a huge impact on your health, your life, your relationships. And so why wouldn't you start a deep breathing practice today?
Thank you for joining me on the Learning Love podcast. If you're ready to live your life of love, visit my website, markahicks.com, to get my free ebook, The 5 Components of Love. And coming in 2025, my new book from Morgan James Publishing, Learning Love, Building a Life That Matters and Healthy Relationships That Last. Pre-orders will be available soon. And remember, love is the answer. Now all we have to do is explore all the questions. Love well, everyone.